So, Helen,
Yeah.
my assistant here, he said he had put that link, Helen, to our website on somewhere here on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Information thing. My assistant here, he said he had put that link, Helen.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Here on Zoom.
Great. Oh, okay.
Information thing. My assistant here, he said he had put that link, Helen.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
What is it?
Great. Oh, okay.
My assistant here, he said he had put that link,
Oh, yeah.
technical difficulties
Great. Oh, okay.
happened. My assistant here, he said he had put that link,
Oh, yeah.
technical difficulties
Great.
happened. My assistant here, he said he had put that link, how many people out there were hearing a bunch of strange things on the speaker?
They can hear you now?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. This keeps on repeating. Well, now it's not doing it. How many people out there were hearing a bunch of
No, it's
strange things on the speaker?
strange. They can hear you now?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. This keeps on repeating. Well, now it's not doing it. How many people out there were hearing a bunch of strange things?
Bhante, shall we just all hang up and come back in? Maybe that will fix that issue.
How many people out there were hearing a bunch of strange? How is it now? Is it okay?
Yes.
Yep.
A lot better.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was some sort of loop with the browser being out. So probably still streaming.
It says it is live on YouTube.
It's just not having feedback because of the browser being open. It's not.
Okay, friends, we're going to go ahead and start by reciting the Namo Tassa and the three refuges for those who would like to join in that. Namo
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato
Sambuddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Welcome, friends, to this Wednesday night Dhamma discussion and meditation practice. So I had asked people to send in some questions for tonight's Dhamma discussion, and so a couple of people have done that. I'm going to go over those first. And this one question is, there's many Dhammapada verses and so on that I've recited or people have read about when they're reading the Buddhist texts. And so there's a phrase called anicca vata sankhara. And the translation of that is impermanent are all conditioned things. And of course, one of the main tenets of the Buddha's teaching, or one of the three characteristics of existence, is that all conditioned things are impermanent. And so the question was, what is the difference between sankharas and conditioned things? Now, there's also another phrase that I recite quite often after meditation practice, which is sabbe sankhara anicchati, which means also all conditioned things are impermanent. And the other one is impermanent are all conditioned things. So both of those phrases basically are saying the same thing. Now so this word sankhara is a very important word in the Buddha's teaching, in the teachings of the Dhamma. And it is prominent in the Paticca Samuppada, avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana. And then in the five aggregates, the sankhara is the fourth aggregate, making up the aggregate of the mind, the sankhara. So the word sankhara is a kind of a loaded word because it means a lot of different things. Now, this person had thought that sankhara initially meant kind of his negative thoughts and habits. So a lot of times, because when we're talking about the Dhamma, the cause of suffering are our accumulated negative thoughts and habits that we've been accumulating ever since we were a child, and even have brought some of those from the past life also. We may talk more about that later. But so the sankharas are the habit patterns that we create, but it's also the cause of more habits. But sankharas also are the good habits that we have. Basically, a sankhara means something that's made up. It doesn't exist by itself. Just if you have some clay, and then you make a clay cup or a pot out of clay. So that pot is made out of clay, but we forget it's clay and we call it a pot or a cup or something else. So that what's made out of the clay, something made up, is a sankhara. So basically everything in conditioned existence is a sankhara, even this earth, the solar system. If you believe that at some point in time, a big bang or whatever, this solar system was created. The earth was created, and then after billions of years, the evolution, the first creatures on earth, were created, and all the plants and everything else were, arose. So basically, everything is basically created in that way. So, this person, the question was, would you explain a little bit about how all conditioned things and sankharas are the same thing? Now, you could say that the whole practice of Dhamma is essentially about transforming our negative habits into wholesome habits. Because as I think you all know, the Buddhist teaching is outlined in the Four Noble Truths. I mean, suffering exists. And what is the cause of this suffering? It's craving and desire that has led us to so many actions in order to get the objects of our desire and get away from the objects of our pain and aversion. We would, kill, cheat, lie, rape, pillage, plunder, and do every kind of negative action in order to try to get a hold of more pleasurable feeling based on this craving and desire, and to get away from the painful feelings. So, it's fairly obvious if a person just reflects on that, and even reflecting back on your own life, how many lies did you tell to get the object of your desire, or something that you may have stolen, or to kill some insects or animals, or to look around after somebody else's husband, wife, or mate with his sexual misconduct. And then intoxicating our mind with drink or drugs that cause us to do such negative things. So it's connected to the law of karma. So it's very, sankharas are very connected to the law of karma, that our actions bring the results. And the negative actions done out of greed, hatred, and delusion bring painful results or suffering. And actions done out of the opposite, out of non-greed, non-hatred, and loving kindness, and done out of wisdom, these pave the way for achieving greater states of happiness. And apart from the negative actions that we incur, like from others, if you go around breaking the precepts, killing things, lying, cheating, stealing, sexual misconduct, and things like that, people are going to come looking for you. The police are going to come looking for you. Somebody's going to want retribution. And we create a lot of guilt, worry, remorse, and fear for having hurt others through our bad speech, or so many other ways. A person gets drunk and then kills a whole family in a car accident, and then they go to prison, and so many innocent people from that, action suffer for years and years and years. So, it's not difficult when you reflect on it, how our actions bring the suffering. So the teachings of the Buddha are about removing the cause of suffering. And we remove that by trying to reduce and overcome that strong conditioning to use, wrong speech, wrong actions, and to develop, the Eightfold Path. So the whole Eightfold Path of the Buddha is about developing right view, which is developing wisdom and right understanding about the nature of the world, the nature of the mind, especially the nature of our mind, and understanding the law of karma, and then using that to develop wholesome thoughts, to overcome negative thoughts and develop wholesome thoughts. I'm not going to go into explaining the whole Eightfold Path right now because we've talked about that many times over, and you can read about that or listen to some other talks. But so, the whole practice of Dhamma is about changing those unwholesome thoughts, speech, and actions that bring pain and suffering to wholesome thoughts, speech, and actions, which reduce our guilt, worry, remorse, and fear, and free our mind from so much, agitation and fear and worry, so that we're more peaceful, and also to develop more inner contentment. And the way we do that is through the practice of meditation, through the developing of mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. So the right effort and so on to practice right speech and right actions, about changing these habits. But the habits are not easy to change. And so when we start to change them, there's a lot of resistance from deep in the unconditioned mind, unconscious mind, and also from society around us that basically doesn't really want us to change too much, although in certain ways. So anyway, coming back to the original question, it's about all the conditioned things are the sankharas. So they're not all bad. So we have to create the wholesome sankharas, and the wholesome sankharas mean abstaining from the unwholesome sankharas and developing their opposite. So instead of using wrong speech or negative speech, we cultivate right speech. And right speech is defined, again, I'm not going to explain it right now, because it would take too long. And right action and right thought and right livelihood. Following the Noble Eightfold Path is all about developing the wholesome intentions and the wholesome habits, and especially like of developing a meditation practice that is going to develop our mind. So, and so we always have to kind of take stock of our mind and see what sort of thoughts are there. And it's about, by developing our right thoughts and actions, the wholesome sankharas, both of them can't exist in your mind at the same time, really. And the more you create the wholesome sankharas, the negative ones, get weaker and weaker and weaker, and gradually sort of, die on the vine, so to speak, as we continue to practice the Dhamma. Now, this comes to another question that somebody had sent in. And in this process of transforming our negative sankharas into the wholesome sankharas, of course, practicing, following the 5 precepts or the 8 precepts are ways of sort of controlling our physical actions, the way we speak and the way we use our body, and the way we live our life. So The precepts help us to change that sort of the external part of our life. And the meditation practice helps us to change the internal life. That means to change the way that we think. So in the beginning, you have to force yourself to follow the precepts because, we've learned the negative habits and way of thinking, since childhood and growing up. Like you have to force yourself to stop killing insects, for example, or to stop telling lies, or to stop, stealing things. And so it's not easy because it's only when we practice meditation and we're able to then, develop our mind and more mindfulness and concentration, then we are able to practice those precepts without so much sort of forcing ourselves, like, you wanted to tell a lie, but, you started to, change the income that you earned one year from, 50,000 to just 10,000 so you could avoid paying taxes. That's just one, common example sometimes. And so that's like, telling a lie, but you'd like to do it because it, has some benefit, right? But you force yourself, maybe I'll get caught. And so you kind of force yourself to tell the truth. So that's because of your understanding about the suffering that would come. Anyway, so this second question that I got was, how difficult it is to practice mindfulness and concentration in the daily life, and the benefits that people can get from the practice of meditation in their daily life. Because for the last more than a month or 2 months, we've been talking primarily about the practice of meditation and the practice of, especially of insight meditation. And we've talked about the difference between concentration meditation and the vipassana meditation, or practicing the 4 foundations of mindfulness. And many people in their daily lives who have family lives, like most of you, and still working, or just other things, social commitments, and so on, they find it difficult to reach those deeper levels of concentration and meditation that we have been talking about. And it's true. So this person wanted to know about the other fruits of following the spiritual life, especially as outlined in a specific sutta this person mentioned, which was the Samanampala Sutta, found in the Digha Nikaya. Samanapala Sutta means, the translation is the fruits of following the life of a samana. So basically it meant like following the life of a mendicant or a monk or a nun, to use those common terms, monastic life. What are the fruits of that? But as most of you are not, monastics, and probably won't be monastics in this life, you can extrapolate that even to the lay life. And what are the fruits of practicing the Dhamma, even on a kind of a not so intensive level? What could be the fruits of that? So this person had asked if I would, talk about that. So I would probably start talking about that sutta. It's a very long sutta. There's a lot to it, starting perhaps next week, because I don't want to start into it now. It's very long. And if possible, I'll try to send a link out where people can read that sutta. And so we may be taking several weeks or longer to discuss, sections of that sutta, the Samanapala Sutta. Now, for those who have a copy of the, Pali suttas, like the, wisdom publications, this is found in the Digha Nikaya, or the Long Discourses of the Buddha. You can even type that into Google and you would be able to find a link to that sutta if you don't have the book. And I've discussed that before a couple of years ago during the pandemic when I had first started these Wednesday night programs. I had gone over that sutta as well. But a lot of you may not have remembered that or joined since that was going on. So now I wanted to see if there's any other questions that some of you may have, some other questions that some of you may have on the Dhamma or meditation that you'd like to ask. I don't see anything else here in the chat box, really. So if you want to just ask the question by putting up the yellow hand, or just you can ask the question by unmuting yourself. You could ask a question.
Well, Bhante, I try to write this out, but there's another one in the chat.
Okay, I see that. Thank you. So there's a question in the chat box. We got an AI by it. I don't know if this person found that through an artificial intelligence or not. Is Mara a metaphor or an actual being or both? Now, Mara is a word that is used in the suttas, Mara, and usually it's a metaphor for delusion and even death. Like Maranasati starts with Mara, but Maranasati means contemplation of death. And Mara, basically, it's the delusions that cause us to prematurely, cause us to die. Various delusions, being deluded in the mind or having wrong views, and then because of that, doing foolish things that may lead to premature death. So it's, and in the suttas, there is some suttas where the Buddha or other monks have claimed to encountered Mara as a kind of a person. But I tend to explain it and regard it as our deluded mind. For example, let's say you have a thought in your mind. Maybe you're trying to practice Dhamma, but then a thought comes into your mind, a doubt. What does this Dhamma lead to? And then maybe some, I think it's, I don't think the Buddha even existed, or some other, something that wants you not to practice the Dhamma, wants you to kind of give up. Like maybe you get up in the morning and want to meditate, and then, it would be nice to just sleep another hour or two, and you roll over. So you're saying like Mara got your mind. So Mara is like the devil in our mind. So you could use that English equivalent, or let's say the Christian equivalent of Mara being like the devil. So is the devil some, person there with a pitchfork, that, they talk about in Christianity? Well, who knows? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So the same way with Mara in the Buddhist teaching, is it a being or not? But if you say it is a being, then that's too easy, because then you say, that person has control over my mind. So then you just give up. I can't do anything about it. Mara got a hold of me. The devil made me do it, right? Okay. Well, that's a kind of a cop-out. So it's basically our own deluded mind. It's our unconscious mind. The best way to see it is that it's the negative impulses in our mind. That means greed, hatred, and delusion that don't want us to see the truth. Or Mara doesn't want us to give up our bad habits. The devil wants to keep you doing things that are going to get you reborn in hell, I guess. Anyway, this is just some, trying to create some, understanding about it. So I would say the best way of seeing it is, it's your own unconscious mind. That's what we're dealing with, the habits that are very hard to overcome. And it's easier to do things that are bad for us than to do the good things. Or there's a saying that, it's hard to do good things it's hard to do things that are good for us, or difficult to start good things that are good for us, but easy to give them up. And it's easy to start bad habits, but hard to give them up. Because how easy was it when we were growing up as kids, right? To pick up the bad habits that we learned from other kids in the school or in the neighborhood. Or nowadays, of course, they have all this internet and so on. It even makes it worse because there's so many strange, things going on, and so easy to get access to so many negative things out there. You could say there's a Mara in the internet who's putting up all this harmful stuff that's you find on the internet and so on. I mean, you could see it that way. And so it's like the old, the traditional thing, that the battle between God and the devil, really, it comes to that, to use Christian terminology. And so in the Dhamma, it's truth and falsehood, basically. So the Dhamma is the truth, the Mara is the falsehood. And which one is going to win out? The Buddha dealt with that himself on the night of his enlightenment. He said, Mara, the temptations that were coming up in his mind to give up the practice, coming from his unconscious mind about, why are you living this ascetic life? There's so many beautiful girls and food, and you could have been king, why don't you go back and get your throne and live like a king, So this was his deluded mind talking to him, that he called Mara, and he said, Mara, I see you, get out. And so luckily his attraction to the Dhamma prevailed. And he was able to defeat Mara. That's a very famous paintings that you see in a lot of the Buddhist art. The Buddha battling Mara in the nights before his enlightenment, in the night of his enlightenment. Okay? So, does anybody have any last question?
Bhante, there's a question in the chat.
Another one?
Yes.
Can having a yoga pose practice help shift out of the Mara? Well, Mara again is delusions or our bad habits. So simply doing a yoga pose by itself could, if you're holding a certain pose and concentrating in the pose, temporarily, if you get concentrated enough and in that pose, you might forget temporarily about that particular negative thought that might been in your mind before. Basically, it's just kind of distracting you from that thought. But, that's a good thing. But overall, generally, how can yoga, because you all know, and we do it before we meditate, we practice some yoga exercise and some deep breathing before all of our sessions of meditation. Now, the reason why we do that is because practicing the yoga, the poses, and also the deep breathing, developing, rhythmic breathing, helps to, concentrate your mind in the body in the present moment, which does the same thing. But it allows you, but then the meditation, it's a preparation for the meditation. So after doing the yoga pose, you can kind of meditate in a yoga pose for a short period of time, but probably not for very long, unless it's the Padma Asana, which is the meditation posture. But after doing a series of yoga poses or exercises, then you sit to meditate, and the mind will already have been reached a level of calmness and relaxation, and been more in tune with the body in the breathing, where meditation starts. So the way I teach it and why I integrate yoga practice into the meditation is as a help for the meditation. But it's the meditation and the development of deeper levels of mindfulness and concentration that are, in the long run, going to help you defeat Mara. Because once you develop the mind, you don't need to do as many yoga poses in order to control your mind. But it's because we don't have control of our mind. We don't have enough mindfulness because we're kind of distracted and moving too fast. That's why we make mistakes and get carried away by our thoughts and emotions. So it's the long-term practice of meditation and yoga and meditation. The yoga helps to sustain and keep that level of the nervous system in the body flexible enough so that you have a good circulation and you can endure pains more. So when you sit in meditation, all that helps you to gain deeper, to overcome the 5 hindrances and to develop the deeper levels of mindfulness and insights that can penetrate deeper into the unconscious and weaken or destroy the roots of our negative thoughts and impulses. Really. So that's what I would briefly respond to that question. Anyway, this other comment in there, it says, beliefs and fantasy concepts are Mara, the emblem of negative death, the wheel of samsara. Now, if you're familiar with that, what is called samsara chakra, which is a Tibetan artwork, it shows Mara, which is like a, kind of a monster, holding a wheel, right? And the wheel is the 12 links of dependent origination, birth and death, the rounds of birth and death. So yes, it's Mara, the delusions, greed, hatred, and delusions that power that wheel of birth and death. I'm not going to go into it now because it requires many Dhamma talks to explain the whole thing. maybe we'll do that again later. Okay, friends, so I think we might bring this discussion to an end now so that we can have a session of some yoga stretches and some deep breathing to get our mind kind of bring it back into the body in the present moment, and then have our period of meditation. Okay? So let's take a short break and come back in a few minutes and try to find a spot there where you can stand and do some simple stretching movements when I come back.
Bhante.
Friends, stand straight, relax your shoulders and arms to the sides. Just gently close your eyes. From that point on the eyes, try to feel the outline of the standing body. Feel the sense of your head on top, your arms and hands hanging at the side, the straight legs, the feet pressing the floor, clothing touching the skin. See if you can kind of hold that outline, image or sensations in the mind's eye. Then begin some deep, slow breathing. Try to take 2 or 3 seconds to expand your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest, holding the air in the lungs for 2 seconds. And on the out breath, try to feel the last bit of air go out of the lungs. And then the next in breath, just try to take several more breaths like that, developing this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to combine this breathing with these movement exercises. We do each exercise, 3 rounds of each exercise. We do the movement on the in breath, holding that position for 2 or 3 seconds and returning to the starting point in the opposite direction on the out breath, and then repeating each one 2 more times. You can open your eyes and watch the screen to follow me through that if you haven't seen them before. So in the next in-breath, raise the arms over the head, interlock the fingers, turn the palms up, straighten your arms, stretch your head back, look at the back of your hands, stretch upwards and backwards a bit. On the out breath, turn the palms down and touch the top of your head. Again, on the in breath, palms up, straighten the arms, stretch the head back, bend back a little bit, feel the arch in the lower spine. Out breath, touch the top of your head. And the 3rd time, hold that, stretch the arms, hold that longer, bend backwards a little more, feel the sensation. Release your fingers, the out breath, arms back to the sides, just close the eyes, feel the sensations in your hands and fingers, increased tingling sensation, pulse of blood having stretched the fingers, activate the life force in the body. Try to feel that, or feel any other sensations in the body. Feel your feet pressing the floor. Just remind yourself of standing, letting go of your thoughts, getting out of your head into the body. Okay, on the next in breath, lift up on your toes and raise the arms over the head, facing the hands toward each other, a few inches apart, and stretch up. The out breath, come back down, arms to the side, heels to the floor. Just try to coordinate the breathing with the movement. Again, in breath up. Use the in breath to help lift up the body. Stretch. Out. Feel the sensation in the arms and hands. Third time up, in breath. Stretch. Out breath. Just close the eyes. Feel the outline of the body. If you can't feel that, at least just feel your hands or feet pressing the floor. Feel your face. Just feel some body sensation. Even just the clothing touching the skin. More sensations you can notice, less time to get lost in your thoughts or distracted. Just remember standing, standing, standing. Just let your thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Keep the breathing body in the front of the awareness. Mara wants to trap you in your thoughts in the past and future. By staying in the body, you outwit Mara. Next, we'll do side bending. On an in-breath, raise both arms up. And keep your fingers and arms straight, close to your head. On the out-breath, bend over the right side as far as you comfortably can. Keep your arms parallel to each other like railroad track. In-breath, lift up. And the left side, out-breath. In-breath up. Let's continue alternating sides like that with the breathing, out-breath. In, out. In. Once more to each side, out. In. Out. In breath. Now on the out breath, lower both arms. Just close the eyes. Focus in the body. Feel the increased sensation, especially in your hands and fingers. Other places you might feel some prickly sensations or some minor aches or pains. Just remember standing, standing, standing. Mara lives for the past and the future. If you keep your mind in the present moment, Mara can't find you. Standing, standing. Next we'll do knee bending. On the next in breath, lift up on your toes while lifting the arms up front for balance. On the out breath, bend the knees, lower the body down, balancing on the balls of the feet. Come down into the squatting position if you can. And take a deep breath and feel the muscles in the legs pushing the body up on the toes. Out breath down, and riding a slow moving elevator. In breath up. Out. And hold that a little longer. And the in breath, lift up the muscles in the leg. Out breath, relax. Close the eyes, feel the increased heart beating. Feel any aches or pains, other pulsations. This living body. You don't have to think about it, just feel it. Feel those activated life force vibrations, sensations. Just remember standing, standing, standing. Okay, now spread your legs and feet apart, about 3 feet, the wider the better. And holding the arms out to the sides, we'll do the twisting from right to left, give the spinal column, lateral twist. Breathe in. On the out breath, twist to the right. Keep your eyes focused on the hand going back. The in-breath, come back to the front. Let your feet turn with the body and then go to the other side, the out-breath. In-breath, front. Again to the right, out-breath. In. Out. In. Once more to each side. Lower the arms, close the eyes. Feel each foot pressing the floor. Feel the sensation of the legs spread apart. Feel the arms and hands hanging at the side. Feel the subtle pulsations in your fingers. Feel your clothing touching the skin. Feel the head balanced on top. Feel some sensations on your face, your eyes. Feel the outline of the whole body. Pulsating, vibrating with activated life force. Now place the hands together at your chest. Breathe in, hands over the head. On the out breath, lower the hands to the chest and bend the knees and lower down. Try to keep your back upright. Feel the stretch in your knees and hips. On the in breath, come back up, hands over the head. Out breath, lower down. In. Out. Try to hold it, position a little longer. Feel the sensations in the leg. In breath. The out breath, hands back to the sides. Close the eyes. So feel that outline, silhouette, the vibrating body. The more sensations you can notice, the less time for Mara to carry you out in your thought. Mara exists for the past and the future. You keep the mind in the present moment. Doesn't know where you are. Now we're going to do the forward and backward bending. Be careful with the back bend. Don't bend back too far the first time. Just let your hands touch the front of your legs. Breathe in. On the out breath, bend forward. Keep the head looking out straight ahead. Let your hands come to your kneecaps the first time. Keep the legs straight. Try to arch the spine downwards, flatten the spine. The in-breath, lift up. Move the hands around under the buttocks for support. Let the head go back. On the out breath, gently bend backwards, not too far. Keep your eyes open. Let out the breath. On the in-breath, come back up. On the out-breath, again, bend forward. Let the hands come below your knees. Still keep the legs straight and the head up. Feel the increased stretch in the legs and the spine. In-breath up. Again, the back bend, just be careful. The out breath. In breath, lift up. And the third time, let the hands come down as far as you can toward the ankles or feet. Keeping the legs straight, and then hold on to your legs or feet longer, feeling that stretch in the hamstring muscles, also in the spine. Feel the little bones in the lower spine stretch out. The in-breath, lift up. And once more, the back bend. Be careful. Out breath. In-breath, lift up. On the out breath, just relax the shoulders and arms. Feel the whole body. Be aware of any rush of sensations. Increased body warmth into the activated life force in the spinal column. I feel that the present moment, grounded in the body. Just remember standing, standing, standing. Okay, now bring your legs and feet back closer together. Begin to stand straight but relax. Keep your chin level with the floor. Last exercise, the head turning. On the in-breath, turn your head to the right. As far as you comfortably can, try to look over your right shoulder. On the out-breath, turning 180 degrees back to the left, to look over the left shoulder. Feel or imagining the neck vertebrae loosening up. In-breath back to the right. Out-breath left. In right. Out left. Once more to each side. On the in-breath, let the head stop in the center. Close the eyes. Try to feel that activated life force. Try to imagine it as a healing life force permeating all the cells and tissues of the body, mind, nervous system, allowing the awareness to just rest in the middle. Remember standing, standing, standing. Okay, so now let's come back to our seats and get ready for the sitting meditation. Might downstairs later. Okay, friends, try to get comfortable in your sitting position. Try to adjust your back, the spine, and the back of your head in a straight line. And keep your chin lifted up, level with the floor. Just gently close your eyes and you just feel your head balanced on top of the spinal column. Try to mentally feel the outline of the sitting body, the head on top, the arms at the sides, hands resting in the lap or on your leg. Feel the natural inward curve of the lower lumbar spine. Feel the way the knees are bent and the feet tucked underneath. If you can, try to hold that outline of the sitting body in the mind's eye. Again, begin some deep, slow breathing as we did in the yoga. Try to take 2 or 3 seconds to expand the abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Holding the air in the lungs 1 or 2 seconds, and slowly breathing out. Feeling the last bit of air go out of the lung. Just continue taking several more deep, slow breaths like that, cultivating this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. We're going to count our breaths from 1 to 10 to try to develop a more continuous concentration on the breathing. Try to continue the deeper, slower breathing if you can. Help you to stay more grounded in the body. I'll do the counting for you. Just try to follow that with your breathing concentration. So with the next expanding in breath, mentally count to 1. Hold the breath for a moment. On the out breath also count to 1. Feel the last bit of air go out of the lung. Next in breath, 2. Out breath, 2. In 3. Out 3. In 4. Out 4. In 5. Out 5. In 6. Out 6. In 7. Out 7. In 8. Out 8. In 9. Out 9. In 10. Out 10. Now discontinue the counting so that your breath return to its uncontrolled or relaxed, slower rhythm, uncontrolled rhythm. Continue to feel it. Keep your attention centered in the middle of the body, feeling the subtler residual expanding, contracting sensation. Or to feel where the clothing rubs against the skin, the stomach, rib cage, your chest. It expands and contracts to help you concentrate. It's knowing when the breath is coming in and knowing when the breath is going out. You know it by feeling it. Alert attention. Try to feel the brief pauses between the in-breath and out-breath, the out-breath and the in-breath. A brief, short pause, just a half a second, 1 second, and the next breath. Try to be like a scientist looking down through a microscope, focused on the breathing process, the present moment breathing process. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Make these brief mental notes to help you stay concentrated. For the in-breath, remembering in, sitting, the out-breath, out, sitting. In, sitting, out, sitting, just over and over and over again, developing mindfulness and concentration in the breathing body. Letting your thoughts come and go in the background, keeping the sensations of the breathing body in the front of the awareness. In, sitting, out, sitting, breath by breath, moment by moment. Try to notice how each breath is different. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. Sometimes you feel the sensations in the abdomen, sometimes you feel it in the rib cage or chest. It's always changing. Pauses between the breaths, also longer or shorter. Keep turning up the power of the mental microscope. Bring that breathing process more clarity. And pauses between the breaths, feel the outline of sitting body, straightening the posture if necessary. Find yourself slouching. On an in-breath, gently straighten up the spine, keeping the chin level with the floor. You still have a lot of thoughts. You can try counting your breaths from 1 to 10 by yourself. See if you can count to 10 without the mind getting lost in thought. Come back and do some more deep, slow breathing to help stay awake, centered in the body. In sitting, out, sitting. Turn up the power of the mental microscope. Notice more and subtler details, sensation, in the breathing process, other sensations coming and going in the body. Being aware of the thoughts moving through the back of the mind, wanting to sneak in, waiting for Mara to sneak in and steal your attention away. Those distracting thoughts of your Mara. all the various thoughts going through your mind, sankhara, the movements of the body, also sankhara. Try to hold that outline of the body in the mind's eye. The breathing going on in the center of the body. At the same time, other sensations coming and going. Thoughts coming and going in the back of the mind. Stay centered, grounded in the breathing. In sitting. Out, out, sitting. Breath by breath, moment by moment. Relaxing the body and mind more and more with each out breath. Getting subtler and subtler vibration in and around the breathing. And feel those subtle life force vibrations at the present moment. See if you can identify or understand what is a negative sankhara that arises. To understand what is a wholesome, positive sankhara. What thoughts arise in the mind based on that sound vibration? Sabbe sankhara anicchati yada panyaya pasati atanibindati dukkhi esamaggo visuddhiya dukkha pattacani dukkha bhaya pattacani bhaya sukha pattacani sukha untu sabbe pipanino. All conditioned things of this body, mind, and world, the five aggregates, are impermanent. They arise only to briefly last, then vanish. When one sees this with the eye of wisdom, one becomes disenchanted with suffering. This is the path to freedom. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. In this way, may all beings live with mindfulness and wisdom. Thus spoke the Buddha. Now, friends, I invite you to join in finishing this meditation by chanting the word sadhu 3 times slowly. We do that chanting on a long out breath, feeling those vibrations in the body and mind as you're doing or listening to the chanting. Let's take a deep breath. Sadhu. Sadhu. Place your hands at the edge of your knees. Take one more deep breath as you're breathing in. Stretch your head back. Pull your hands on the knees to arch your spine backward. On an in-breath, lift the head up. And on an out-breath, press the chin to the top of the chest to stretch the neck vertebrae. Lift the chin up level on an in-breath. Relax on the out breath. Put a smile on your face. Okay, friends. So I hope you were able to have at least some minutes of some good mindfulness and concentration. Get in touch with the present moment, the life force in the body. The more you can keep the mind grounded in the body, the less time for it to get lost and carried away by unnecessary negative thoughts, being caught up in the past and the future, and anxiety that comes with that. Try to practice your M&Ms during the week, every hour, stopping for a moment, taking for a minute, taking a couple deep, slow breaths, letting go of the past and future, touching base at the present moment, just sitting, breathing, standing, breathing, sending out metta thoughts towards others, all beings. Okay, so this next week I'll try to send out a link to that Samanapala Sutta that you can peruse or read parts of that, and we'll try to explore the different aspects of that, the training, the gradual training. Okay?
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Bhante.
Thank you to everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Good Dharma.
Thank you to everyone. Have a good night.
What are the M&Ms?
Everyone. Good night.
Minute meditation, minute.
Don't know what.